Hi there, I'm Jody Peel from Third Space Charity. Welcome to Third Space Live Pre-Show. This show is about conversations, ideas, and stories to build mental wellness and hope. Right now is the pre-show. The real show will start, or the official show will start at 8 o'clock. Tonight we're going to be speaking with EJ Link, all about feelings, which is exciting. A man talking about feelings is even more amazing. But before we start, I'm going to do three things. I'm going to tell you where you can learn more about our charity at our website at thirdspacecanada.org. You can follow us on Instagram or Facebook, and you can also see recordings of all of these shows on our YouTube channel, Third Space Charity. The second thing I'm going to do before we start is do a shout out and a big thank you to Third Space Coffee, located in the Landmark District in Kelowna. They're a social enterprise and help support our charity, and they're doing a great job of continuing to offer people in the Landmark District safe ordering and pickup for delicious coffee and snacks. So hi to that team, and hi to, I see EJ waiting and Patrick waiting. Hi, everybody. Okay, and if you I forgot to mention, if you use the code Third Space Loves You, you get 20% off your coffee order. So don't forget to do that. The third thing I'm going to do before we start is my gratitude practice. And you know what? I was really stumped today. I didn't know what to be grateful for. I mean, I know I have a lot of things to be grateful for, but there was nothing that popped into my mind. And I think that there's two things that I'm grateful for that I'll touch on, but not go too deep in today. The first one is that in British Columbia right now, for those of you watching sometime in the future, today is May 12th, 2020, and we're still in the middle of the pandemic, COVID-19, and it looks as though our part of the world is going to be loosening up and the restrictions a little bit coming up soon, and that's exciting, and I'm really thankful for that because it's creating some hope for all of us, and it's decompressing the stress in my home with teenagers who are really excited to connect again with their colleagues and their friends. So that's exciting. The other piece was that I had a really amazing day at work today. I got to work alongside our two summer intern students who are both graduate students in the Faculty of Social Work. And one of them, EJ, is going to be talking tonight. And it was just such a pleasure to hang out with young, bright, motivated, soulful two men who are just amazing humans, and they're embarking on a life to serve other people through their social work education. And that was just amazing. So I guess I did have a better gratitude practice than I expected I would be. It just kind of flowed out of me. So anyway, it's around 8 o'clock-ish, so I'm going to get the show started. For those of you just joining us, hi, I'm Jody Peel, the Executive Director of Third Space Charity. You can learn all about our charity at thirdspacecanada.org. You can follow us on Instagram or Facebook, and you can also view recordings of all of our shows on our YouTube channel. This show offers conversations, ideas, and stories to build mental wellness and hope. And tonight, we're going to be talking about feelings with graduate intern student EJ Link. Today is episode number 14. It's May 12th, 2020, and I'm going to proceed with introducing EJ. So I'm going to read this a little bit. All right. EJ Link is a graduate student of UBC's Master of Social Work program, and he holds a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology and microbiology. Since 2014, he has been a basketball official, and he continues to develop his skills and passion of this craft. It was from this experience where he brought the tool of self-talk, which he'll be talking to you about tonight, from refereeing and integrating this into his personal life. Stemming from the philosophy of mindfulness that many of us are familiar with, EJ believes that self-talk has facilitated his emotional intelligence, his understanding of human connections, and his overall holistic well-being. So that is a pretty exciting introduction. Now I'm going to get EJ on here, and he'll pop up in a second. And if you want to get in touch with him, you can. Instagram is EJLINK. There he is.
Hello.
Hi, EJ.
How are you?
Welcome.
Thank
I
you.
spent all
you.
day with you, and now I get to spend the evening with you too.
Hey, that's totally okay.
I like your backdrop. It's nice.
Thank you. This is the comfort of my office at home. So Yeah, unfortunately, it's just a whiteboard that I can doodle on to keep myself busy when I'm not doing work. But yeah, it does the job.
That's cool. I'm a little bit jealous. I'm, as you know, in my bedroom closet, which is my home office right now.
Yeah.
And I'm zoomed up quick so you can't see the mess behind me.
Well, you're doing a good job of it. Can't see anything there.
Yeah. All righty, let's kick this off. I can't wait to start. We talked today a little bit about this, last couple of days actually. We're going to talk about, we're going to start by talking a little bit about emotions, self-talk, what it is, different kinds, how it works, and what the benefits are, and a couple examples.
Yeah, so I guess we'll kick this off by kind of normalizing the fact that it is totally okay to talk to yourself. Self-talk is something that we do naturally, whether we know it or not. We're continually talking to ourselves, negotiating with ourselves, and basing our decisions off every single interaction that we have in our head. And it's just a natural thing that we do ever since we've been a child, and that's just how we learn about the world and how we learn about ourselves and how we interact with people.
So it's interesting that you and I recognize that your self-talk is inside all the time.
Yeah.
And my self-talk is externally to myself. I literally talk to myself.
That's
right?
One of the coolest parts about this talk is because it's such a broad topic. It's not a one size fits all, because not everyone has that internal narrative. Like, for example, when I talk to myself, sure, I can hear myself when I talk out loud, but if I were to think to myself in my head, then I will hear a voice in my head. Like, it's I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't necessarily like sound exactly like mine, but I can hear words being said when I think in my head. So some people have that, some people don't, and it's a very subjective thing for people.
Okay, so before we jump into self-talk, let's talk a little bit about emotions and let's start with that.
Yeah, emotions are very unique to the person, and they can come in all different strengths, varieties, and they're like spectrum labels. Like, you can't say that happiness is exactly the same for everyone or sadness is exactly the same for everyone, because your bodily functions are going to respond differently to happiness than mine. For example, like if I'm excited, I won't stop smiling. But for those who may know me, I don't stop smiling anyways. But with that, I get really like, my heart starts racing, or I can't stop moving. So our body has a reaction to every emotion that we have. And then with that bodily reaction, we have some sort of behavior that goes along with it. So emotions are probably best described as a label on a spectrum. So happiness looks different from one person to another, and it lands in between this because it is just something that each person is unique to.
Okay, and the other thing we talked about today, actually for quite a while with Scott as well, is about feelings being, where are they? Are they in your head? Are they in your body? Or are they in both?
Yeah, so it's quite interesting because a lot of us think that our emotions come from our head. And for the most part, that is true when we develop that cognition in our head where it says that, oh, like, I just know myself, so I know I'm happy. But when you go back into developmental states, you'll be easily reminded that our emotions can actually be felt through our body first before we can actually think about them. So as we grow up, we automatically like just connect exactly what we're feeling because it's just normal. It is something that happens all the time. But as I say, emotions start from our body. Children can be the best example for this, because when a children gets scared, or when a child gets anxious, they'll tell you that, oh, I have a stomach ache, oh, I have a headache, and they have that bodily reaction that I was mentioning earlier about what they're actually feeling.
So they're maybe just they're living in their whole body instead of in their head, maybe. That they're yeah. Because all of us have our body all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, because emotions are something that we perceive. And then from that, our body has a reaction to what we're perceiving. And then with that comes a behavior that usually we put together really fast because of our developed brain, and just simply to say A to B without even thinking about the first part where we feel it in our body and immediately begin to connect that to how we're expressing that.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're moving into what do we do with an emotion? So what a lot of us do, and a good example again with the kids, is when you feel a strong emotion, let's say you're angry, you feel it in your head, you feel it in your body, you're triggered, and then what you're saying is then you react to it.
Yeah. So one of the most common things that I could probably bring an example to, and I'm sure everyone's had an experience with this, is getting cut off. If you're late for work or you're rushing to class or when you're driving, yes, you get cut off, or you feel like someone's done you wrong while you drive, and you get upset. Like you want to yell at them, and we'll right away notice that, oh, like that guy's an A word, and continue on.
So you get the feeling first. You get the feeling. You're like, you get a feeling of anger.
Yeah.
And how would anger present in your body?
So right away, when we feel that, we'll just automatically go like, "Rah, rah, rah." But if you really slow that down, you'll feel like a tension in your jaw, and then your body might tense up, and you're feeling your gut might, like, stomach gets knotted, and then we begin to react to that. And so that emotions really just tap into our old brain, as we would talk about in the science world, where we tune into that fight or flight.
Yeah, so that's a science. It's well recognized that we're programmed from evolutionary wise to, when we have a strong emotion, to react, and it's a fight or flight reaction. That's what you're getting at. So the guy cuts you off, and we are programmed when you're angry to all of a sudden get angry.
Yeah,
attack or take off.
Exactly, and with a fight or flight reaction, you'll have those muscles clenching, your heart rate speeding up, your adrenaline comes up, and then your body will physically show that this is what you're feeling.
Okay, so and if you don't do more than that you're going to talk to us about a second option. What a lot of us tend to do is just react and do what you just said. You just want to scream at the guy or honk your horn or whatever.
Because as we grow up as children, as teenagers, we don't really get to talk about how we actually feel through our bodies, and be able to have a sense of mindfulness, living in that moment, being present with your feelings, your thoughts, your bodily reactions to everything. And therefore, when we have our developed brain, it's to the point where we automatically just associate it without thinking about the whole process.
Okay. So the other option is this process. And what is the process all about?
So this is really cool, because self-talk is, as we said, the center of this whole piece. And it can happen in three different lights. In a present tense, where we're being observant, perceptive, where you think like, oh, I'm feeling this, oh, I see this, or that happened, and that's just it. Like, it's just observations. And then you can talk about this in the future tense, where you're looking towards possibilities. Like, when this happens, I will do this. If I do this, that will happen. And then there's past self-talk, where it's like, oh, I wish I did that, or how come I didn't do this? I should have done that. And those are the three different modalities that you can kind of talk to yourself in going through what has happened to you. And it's a really cool thing, and a very booming part of research in sports psychology is that self-talk, so that we can slowly delve through the process of what has happened and what we are feeling, and go forward with even like just getting to the really core of that moment.
Okay, so let's use the cutting off thing again. That's you just gave us three: past, present, or future applications. In the present, guy cuts you off.
Yeah.
You might have a knee-jerk reaction to get mad and angry and lash out. If you use self-talk, what would that look like?
So guy cuts me off. I start feeling my shoulders go up, my jaw clench, my stomach drop, the adrenaline pumping. that's when I'm like, oh, let's take a second to be here in that moment of what I'm feeling. So I'll notice every single part of those body movements, and then you'll so okay, so I'm feeling this throughout my body. Like what does that mean I'm feeling? And so I can connect that. Well, tense, I'm uncomfortable, I'm probably angry. And then you can go even further than that and talk to yourself by saying, well, why am I angry? Well, my boss called me into the office today, and it wasn't a good conversation. I'm not doing as well as he wants me to. Last night, I had a bit of a dispute with a family member, and I heard that one of my friends isn't doing so well, and I'm worried about their well-being. So that's a lot of things to just carry on a platter and trying to balance that in your daily life. And then this happens to you, and you get cut off, and it's a minor inconvenience. And all of that balancing act that you've had on that platter just kind of gets knocked off, and this is your
Tipping.
reaction to it.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you stop and you think about, first of all, you notice what's going on in your body, and then you are curious about why you're feeling that way, and you're exploring all the factors that are playing a part in you feeling that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where self-talk is a very vulnerable thing, because you have to be curious. You have to sit there and, like, if you have a moment and if you're available, to close your eyes, to let yourself focus in, and be able to have that curiosity and that willingness to ask those questions with yourself and saying, like, what is my body telling me? What am I feeling because of this? Like, and why am I feeling that way? What has resulted in this influx of emotions?
And that takes a lot more time and energy than just flipping somebody the bird when you're
Yeah,
driving.
I
That's harder.
absolutely it is, and this isn't going to happen overnight. This is something that you need to be continually, consciously experimenting with, because what I do is not going to work for you. Like, as you said, you don't have an internal monologue. I do. So being able to express yourself in a way that you can understand yourself is a lot more difficult,
Yeah,
because
go ahead, sorry.
you just need to have that curiosity and willingness to sit there and feel it.
Yeah, so the words we talked about today earlier was pausing, right? And
Yeah.
being curious about your feelings and letting that awful body sensation that you're angry. It doesn't feel good. Like you said, it's uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
being able to sit there with it for a bit in order to understand it and explore it, that's the first step, right? And I
And
told you, yeah, go ahead.
that's the difficult part,
Yeah.
is being able to sit there with those emotions, right? Like, we live in such a fast-paced, immediate society where we're not ready to sit there and feel negative emotions. We want to do something that makes us feel good right away. And that, again, it's such a vulnerable conversation with yourself, because not everyone is willing to sit there with negative emotions and just feel that, ask why.
And you have to be honest. The examples you gave, that, oh my goodness, like maybe the stuff that happened today at work is contributing to this. Maybe the conversations I had last night is contributing to that. That's
Yeah.
taking ownership as well, and not just simply blaming some stranger who cut you off for your feelings.
Hmm.
You're actually saying, wait a sec, this has a lot to do with what's going on in my life. So that's a very responsible way
Yeah.
to deal with feelings too.
It in it's funny, because there's no reason to lie to yourself, but yes, we do it because it protects us from us. And so being able to have that honesty and that willingness, as I keep mentioning, it's very important.
And like you were using words to say that you have to do this and do it a lot and learn how to do it. The word we used today was practice,
Yeah.
right? Just like
Yeah.
a yoga practice or a meditation practice. This is a practice that you have to do all the time.
There's such a variety of ways to partake in self-talk, and that's the more frustrating part of trying to tell someone that you need to self-talk, is because everyone's going to have it differently. Like, I can talk in my head, you can talk out loud. Some people have benefits from writing things down. You just had a live conversation last week with journal writing and how that helps. Other people may self-talk through painting, poetry, photography, and this is the toughest part about self-talk, is that you need to be okay with sitting those negative emotions, and you need to be okay with trying a few times after feeling like this doesn't work for you.
So then when you feel the feeling, you pause, you identify what it's doing to your body, and then you're curious about where this feeling is coming from. What does that do for you then in the moment?
Yeah, so being able to get at the root of that feeling, and understanding at that core, I'm feeling angry because this guy cut me off. Well, now I have a decision how to react to that. I could either have that normal reaction that we have by laying into our horn and yelling at that guy, maybe saying some impolite things about him, and move on with our day and have that ruin the next 5-10 minutes of our life, our next hour, the rest of our day. Or we can take a step back and say, well, maybe he has something going on. I have all of this going on. So I need to make sure that I take care of myself. I need to go and devour a carton of ice cream, or have a chocolate bar, or just sit there in peace and quiet to be able to decompress from that. Because when we experience those emotions, which can definitely be blinding, then we can be able to kind of unfold what we haven't really been conscious of looking at.
So you're processing it. You're giving yourself the space and the grace to then recover or regulate after you've been
Space,
triggered.
patience, and just the vulnerability and opportunity to be there with yourself, and meet with yourself in that moment. And that's where the whole mindfulness piece comes in, is because you need to be present. You can't try and have a conversation with yourself while you have 4 other things on the go. You need to meet with yourself at your own terms, in your own space, to be able to develop this relationship and move forward with how to handle and react to those emotions. And this is where I mentioned about having the old part of the brain and the developed part of the brain, is because when we react to strong emotions, it's that fight or flight response in the old part of our brain that immediately just goes like, boom, I need to do this. Whereas when we take that second to step back and take that second to breathe, it's amazing how 3 deep breaths can just completely slow everything down. And then you can think
Word to that. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like magic. Sorry. It slows everything down and it just centers you, right?
Yeah. And then that's where the developed part of your brain comes out, where you can process what had happened instead of having an immediate reaction.
And then you get to choose what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You can just let it go if you want.
It's cool to have that power of choice, that ownership and control over your life when you're able to just meet with those emotions.
So the benefit is obviously to yourself. Is there a benefit, other benefits?
Yeah, I like there are a number of benefits that have been researched and published in psychology studies, and like accepting negative thoughts is a really cool portion of being like practicing self-talk, because you're okay with meeting those negative thoughts. So negative thoughts give us a baseline where we can say like, oh, I was there, well, now I'm over here. That's really cool to see that polar opposite of negative thoughts and positive thoughts. That's one way.
Can you use an example? I don't get it.
So we cannot experience happiness if we don't know what sadness is, because they're polar opposites.
Okay.
So being versed or practicing self-talk, mindfulness, and understanding, we understand what sadness is. So having the difference between sad and happy, or happy and sad, we understand what that journey looks like. And then we'd be able to have a baseline of being able to look at where our emotion processes go and come. So that just further develops your own relationship with yourself. It helps reduce worry. It increases satisfaction. And then a really cool part of this is that when you start having those conversations more consistently and being more versed in these practices, um, you kind of have a little more patience and empathy with other people because you understand that they could be going through something that you may not comprehend, or that they need to be much more urgent to than you are right now.
So that's when the compassion and empathy comes in, or the empathy comes in, and then you can choose to respond compassionately.
Yeah, empathy is a tough one because you don't fully understand what they may be going through. But with someone reacting in an angry way or snarky, sarcastic, you get a sense that something must be going on with them, or they've experienced something that is creating them to react like this. So then you have a little bit more patience and more of a sense that people's reactions were like the way they say things, the way they behave isn't necessarily a reflection of you. And this is what I really
That's big.
brought. Sorry?
Yeah. That's a big idea right
Yeah,
there.
and
Yeah.
and that's one of the biggest takeaways I had from refereeing. Like you look at any sports controversial call, and I'd say that out of any of the world's most historic disliked players that you could list, referees will come first because referees are one of the most scrutinized players in professional sports. And being able to understand that it's not a reflection of who you are is a very powerful thing.
So give me an example. Are you talking about like a player or coach yelling at you, or somebody, a fan watching and yelling at you, or when do
Yeah,
you use the ref? And just to be clear, when I introduced you, I mentioned it, but you're a high level ref already, but you aspire to be even a higher level. Like this is a passion of yours. So you ref a
yeah.
lot in
I
basketball.
I absolutely love officiating
Yeah.
basketball, and
Okay.
I definitely think that that craft is going to be something that I carry with me for the rest of my life. And it's because it creates such a cool community of people that you network with that who also referee. And then not only that, it's just taught me so many life lessons with not everyone's going to like you. You're going to have to make tough decisions in tough points in a game and therefore in your life. And everything that you do, you're doing it because you need to. And whatever people's reactions are to that, it's not a reflection of who you are. It's how involved they are in the things that they are. So someone who's super invested in a high school basketball game could follow me out of the gym and berate me and harass me for the next 5 minutes because that's just how invested they were. Not because I did a bad job,
Or
just
because you're
because
a bad person.
it's just, yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly it. And that's an interesting way that refereeing and sports where self-talk is becoming more and more of a prominent thing has helped me kind of translate that into just day-to-day life where we need to talk to ourselves a little more.
So I want you to give me an example, if you could, of, so let's say you're on the court. Paint us a picture of a scenario and what your self-talk would actually say. Like pretend
So
you're actually saying what you hear in your self-talk.
yeah, so like in a like a basketball situation,
Sure, whatever you want.
so it's a little different in a basketball situation because each and every play has a variety of things that we have to keep in mind. So like where the player like travels, if the player's foot is positioned there, and then once they start moving and take a shot, like was that a legal shot?
Yeah, I don't need the technical basketball stuff. Um,
Yeah,
so,
so
but if you need that to tell your story, go for it.
um, even beyond the technical stuff, if I know that I messed up a call, I'll beat myself up. But that's not going to service me or the game. So I have
So
to
you'd
be
be
vulnerable,
saying to yourself, like, why did I do that? That was so dumb. How did I make a mistake? Is that what that
and
sounds
that
like?
will take a toll on me. But I need
Yeah.
to snap out of that. So like,
Okay.
wow, I crapped that call. I need to come back into this. So I'm like, well, I'm feeling anxious. Well, let's make sure we referee this next play as best as we can because I can't change what just happened. So next play. next play. That's the thing that I constantly say in my head, where it's like, next play, don't get it wrong. We're gonna go back to the basics and bring myself back to that baseline where self-talk really does. Because you'll see professional athletes at the free throw line or lining up to bat in hockey for a penalty shot. They'll do these routines to self-talk and bring themselves down to baseline. And that's the whole purpose of this whole talk, is getting to the root of your emotions and bringing yourself down to that baseline so that you can handle yourself and be able to talk yourself through how to move forward with that.
Cool. Yeah, this is something that every human needs to know how to do. And there's different words and systems that are used to describe doing this. It's really neat that you learned it through sport and refereeing.
Yeah.
And now you can apply it to everything.
I'll leave everyone with this little encouragement. It's okay to feel those negative emotions and feel that this isn't working for you. You just need to play around with it a little more. A really cute video to watch is this 4-year-old who had a microphone attached to him at a hockey practice. This is something that shows that children talk to themselves and that we need to get to know ourselves in the world. So take a few minutes after this, getting off this, and look at that, because it's really cute to see how this kid talks to himself in a hockey practice, where he's like, oh, I'm tired. No, I need to go. I need to keep going. And this just talks to himself and amps himself up. It's really cute. So, yeah.
So what should I do? Post it in the bio section of our Instagram or something? Or
yeah,
do you want to post it on your page? And then everybody can follow you. You're at EJ Link?
Yes. Yeah,
so EJLINK.
Yeah.
So if you post that after the show, that'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. All right. Well, thank you for joining us today, EJ. This is your first live show. Congratulations. You did a good job.
Thank you. Super exciting.
I look forward to more.
Very happy to be here.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Just a friendly reminder that you can learn more about our charity at thirdspacecanada.org. You can follow us on Facebook or Instagram. And this Thursday at 8 o'clock, we're going to be visiting with guest Heather Sandiger, who's going to talk to us about the importance and benefits of routine. So hopefully you'll join us then. So from all of us at Third Space, thank you. Have a great night. Thank you, EJ. See you tomorrow at work.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.